At what point did you decide that I want to do this? I want to get into wrestling.
So truth be told, I mean, my story is probably going to be different than a lot of wrestlers. Um, just because of where I was at in my life. Truth be told, I decided that I wanted to pursue this when I was in prison. I decided, it's something I want to try. Um, when you're in prison, you have a different perspective of a lot of things. Life is a lot different in those walls, and I wanted to come out and do some good. And I felt like I could do good, being a wrestler and give back to my community, you know. So I made a goal for myself to do that. And it's funny, sometimes I talk to guys that I was in prison with, and they talk about like, man, I remember you walking on the yard with your wrestling magazine, talking about this is what you do. So a lot of guys will come out of prison, they'll look me up. Um, and they'll be like, "Dang man, the Dugan really did that." So I decided to be a wrestler in prison.
Decided to wrestle in. I mean, prison is just so hard. It's such a tough life. I mean, you don't you're in there and you're surrounded by all these people, and it's not the best environment.
It's not, but people that don't know prison don't really know it like I do. I did 5 years. Um, and some of the best guys I met were in prison, and that's just an honest opinion. Yeah, there are a lot more scumbags in there that should never come out. Honestly, should probably stay in there forever. But then I met guys that had the opportunity to change, and they did. They wanted better for their lives. You never really know a person and what they're going through, and there's guys that commit crimes just because they're scumbags and they don't care. You know, um, or you have guys that do things for survival, and that still doesn't make it right to hurt another person while doing it or stealing from somebody. It doesn't make it right. But you can make a mistake and you can learn from it, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah, I spent I'll be honest with you, I spent most of my life locked up. 13 to 15, I was in a juvie program. I was in and out detention centers from like 16 to 18, then 18 to 19. I did another year in the juvie program, and then I was out for a whole year, and then I did 5 years in prison. Um, that right there made me want to change my life around because I was a kid that was going through a lot of stuff, and I didn't know how to express myself, so I was just dealing with a lot of personal things, and I I I don't really tell this to a lot of people. I'm very religious, I'm open minded, but I'm religious. When surrendered my life to God, you know, and I changed my life around, that's when the ball started rolling for me. So it was all about me working on myself and me forgiving others to forgive myself. And it hasn't been easy, but I'm so much in peace now in my life, and I'm so much happier where I wouldn't take away all the crap I had to go through to get here. So I really do appreciate that I did go to prison, and it made me a man. It made me want to get better, and I met people that been in and out of prison all their lives, and I didn't want to live that life. Um, my doctor mom always seemed good in me. She just knew that I was hurting. She couldn't reach me. So I know one of her last wishes before she died was, I do better with my life, because she felt like I had the potential to do it. So I feel like I honored her in a lot of ways because I've accomplished a lot since coming out.
I like how you touched on the fact that people can come back. from being in prison. People can change their life and turn their life around. Prison doesn't necessarily have to be a horrible place. It can be a place of change. It can be a place to rectify bad behaviors, learning good behaviors, reinforcing, you know, positive uh change. And that's
Uh,
something I feel like we should talk more about because you don't really hear much about it at all.
well, people kind of look at prisoners like, oh, they're locked up. That's it, and that's what's wrong with the system. You lock somebody up, how are they going to get help? You just all you're doing is waiting for them to come right back out to be on the same bull crap. So try to get that person help. You don't really know what their upbringings were, you know, and what led up to the very bad decision they made. You don't know, what happened in their life.